Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you how to make this beautiful pacifier holder. I decided to make it as a pacifier holder, just like I mentioned. You can use it as a hairband if you'd like. How do you do that? Before I close these sections, you can also use an elastic band as a hairband. If you use the right yarn, it can also be a lovely bag strap. Again, if you use the right yarn and attach a buckle, you can use it as a waist belt. If you have any ideas, you can use this pattern there too. Before we start our pattern, I have a small favor to ask. I would be very happy if you support my channel, subscribe, like my videos, and leave comments. If you're ready, we can get right into making it. Before we get to the tutorial, let me give you some crochet hook information. Let me show you like this. I used a 3.35mm crochet hook. It's called a size 6. Just so you know, I used standard cotton yarn. You can also use whatever crochet hook size and yarn you see fit. Here we go. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Now we'll start by chaining 4. I've chained 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, I also chained 1. Yes, after chaining 4, I'm wrapping my head twice and inserting into my first chain. Sorry. Yes, as you can see, I have 4 stitches on my hook. First, I pull 2, then 2, and then the remaining 2, and what about the 3 stitches I've pulled through? Let's call it a single crochet. Now I'm chaining 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 0. I'm wrapping my head twice again. I'm turning my knitting over. Look, we have the stitches at the back. There are the stitches of our chains at the back. Look, you can see them. These are the stitches. We're going to insert into the 4th of these. After chaining 10, we're wrapping our head twice. We're counting. Like this. 1, 2, 3, this 4th stitch, I immediately slip into the 4th. I obtain the stitches I pulled through doubles again. Look, I pulled my yarn out of it. God bless you. Now, first, I slip through my 2 stitches. I slip through my remaining 2 stitches and the last 2 stitches. I slip through my chain 10 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 0. After pulling through my 10 chains, I slip through the back double stitch again. I slip through the back 4 stitches. 1. Like this. 1, 2, 3, and 4. First, I slip through my 2 stitches. Then my 2 stitches and the remaining 2 stitches. Chain 10 again. I slip through the head double stitch. I turn it over. And slip into the 4th stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4. You need to do this until you reach your desired length. Just so you know, this is what our first step will look like. As I said, you will continue this process until you reach your desired length. Yes, as you can see, I've created 5 loops. Now, let's chain 1, 2, 3. I've wrapped the hook around the beginning of the loop again. I'm inserting it into my loop. The first 2 loops, the other 2 loops. It's pulling through my last 2 loops. I'm pulling through. Now I've wrapped around my head. I'll work it into the loop again. After I've wrapped around my head, I'll make 4 crochet stitches. Please make sure they're all the same length. 1, 2, 3 and 4. I'm holding them all and pulling them once to make a chain. Now, look, there's a break that I've pulled through 3 times with the crochet stitch. Let me show you. This is my crochet stitch. This is my stitch that I've pulled through 3 times. I'm going to insert it right into its intermediate point. I'm wrapping around my head once. I've made my entry into that intermediate point. And I've made a double crochet. I'm making my second double crochet in the same point, and my third double crochet in the same point, creating my first crochet. Now I've wrapped around my head once again. I'm making my quadruple crochet again. 2, 3 and 4. I'm pulling through all of them once. I've pulled through a chain. I've wrapped around my head. Now I'm making 3 double crochets in this space between 2 double crochets. 2 and 3. I've wrapped around my head. I'm making my quadruple crochets in my ring again. I'm pulling through all of them once. 1 chain. I've wrapped around my head. I'm making 1, 2, 3 double crochets in this space between 2 double crochets. I've wrapped around my head. 1, 2, 3 and 4. I've pulled through a chain. I've wrapped around my head. I'm making 3 double crochets in the space between 2 double crochets. This will consist of 4 double crochets each. Now I'm going to close them. Now I've wrapped around the beginning of this group twice. I'm slipping into my ring. First, the first 2 stitches, the next 2 stitches, and the last 2 stitches remaining. I'm going to wrap around my head twice again and slip into my next ring. Let me show you like this. We wrap the head of our hook twice. We're inserting into our ring. I pulled through the first 2 stitches. I pulled through the other group of 2 stitches and the last remaining group of 2 stitches. Now we've wrapped the head. I'll place my 4 strand peanuts inside our ring. 2, 3 and 4. I pulled them all once and closed with a chain. I wrap my head. I added 1, 2, 3 double crochets into this space between my peanut and this 3-strand stitch. I'm filling my head. I'm continuing making the peanuts. We were completing 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I pulled through once. 1 chain. I wrap my head. 1, 2, 3 in the space between the 2 peanuts. I wrap my head again. 1, 2, 3, 4. I pulled through all of them. My chain closing. I wrap my head. I'm placing 3 double crochets between the 2 peanuts. We wrap the head again. 1, 2, 3, 4. I pulled through once. 1 chain. I'm filling the head. I'm placing 3 double crochets between 2 double crochets. If your yarn is very thin, you can also make 5 or 6 double crochets. FYI, I've now completed 4. I'm going to close it. I've wrapped the hook around the beginning of my hook twice. I pull the first 2 stitches, the next group of double crochets, and my last remaining double crochet. I wrap the beginning of my hook around twice again and move on to my next loop. 2. And the last 2 stitches remaining. I've wrapped the head. I'm starting my next flower by making my double crochet groups inside my ring. The next steps will continue as I always explained. Now, let's work it all the way to the end of the row. When we reach the end of the row, we'll come together for the next turn. Yes, I've placed the 4 double crochets at the end of my row. I've wrapped the head around the beginning twice. I'm finishing by making the first 2 stitches, the middle group of double crochets, and the last group of double crochets immediately inside my ring. Now we'll start the other side of our motif. We're wrapping the head of my hook around twice. We're inserting into our ring. I'm picking up my second and last 2 stitches. Now, depending on the size of my pacifier and the thickness of my yarn, I think 30 chains will be enough. You can adjust the number of chains depending on the size of your pacifier, the thickness and girth of your yarn, in other words, according to the format it can fit through. I think 30 chains are enough. Four, 1, 5, 1, 6, 1, 7, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, 6, 2, 7, 2, 8, 2, 9, 3, 0. Yes. When you look at it like this, my pacifier can easily fit through. After chaining 30, we wrap the head of our hook twice again. Look right there, I have 2 spaces in between that I've pulled twice, or sorry, 3 times. Right at the middle of that, we wrap our hook once. You don't even need to wrap our hook once, once. Sorry. I'm going to dip right between these 2 spaces and pull once. Now I'm wrapping my head. I'm starting the peanut groups again. 2, 3 and 4. Pull once. I closed with a chain. I wrapped around my head. At the intermediate point of the chain and the pistachio that I made 3 times, I placed 3 double crochets as usual. In the next step, we will actually continue to do the same thing here. We wrapped around our head again. 1, 2, 3, 4 pull once. 1 chain. We wrapped around our head. At the point between the 2 pistachios, 1, 2, 3 double crochets. We wrapped around our head. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Pull once. 1 chain. We wrapped around our head. We placed 3 double crochets at the intermediate point. We have now made 3 stitches. We are placing our 4th and last pistachio. We pulled once. We closed with a chain. Right away, 1, 2, 3 at the intermediate point. We fill the beginning of our hook twice. We will close by inserting it into the ring of our first stitch. 2, 2. We double stitch again. We slip into our next stitch. We're pulling our second and last 2 stitches. And now we can start making the peanuts for this ring. 4 peanuts. Closing with a chain, we've wrapped around our beginning. 1, 2 and 3 are the chains we've pulled 3 times, and we'll continue stringing our peanuts in this manner until the end of our row. Yes, we've reached the end of our row. I've made my 4 peanuts. I'm double stitching the beginning of my hook again. I'm pulling 2, 2 twice into my ring. Now I'll tell you something at this point. As I said, we're going to attach a pacifier to this part. If your pacifier holder has another attachment, like a heart, star, wood, etc., to snap onto our child's decorative collar. If you have that, you can make a second loop. If not, you'll just attach the pacifier here. You can leave it there without making the loop. If you're going to leave it, after pulling these 3 chains, immediately insert it into the top of the 3 chains we pulled at the beginning and make a slip stitch. As I said, if you don't have another tool to attach it to, you don't need to make this loop besides the pacifier. But if you have another tool, like a snap, you need to make a chain the same size as the pacifier. I'll chain 30 again. I could chain 22, 23, or even 25. Because they're quite small. I'm making 25. Let me show you my chain where I started. Let's make it clear. Yes. Look at the foot of my chain. I'm inserting it where I started. I'm making my slip. I'm making one chain and cutting my yarn, leaving a little bit of it. We'll hide our yarn at this stage. If you know a different method for securing it, you can use that too, by passing it over and under a few times so it's not noticeable. Yes. Let's cut the end right there. Yes. As you can see, our pacifier holder is ready to use. We've also worked on the other color. Let me show you right now. This yarn of mine is a little thin, that's why the holes are a little big. Look, my yarn is thick here. Even though I worked with 4 peanuts, it looked more even. If I had worked with 5 or 6, the gaps here would have been a bit more visible. Just so you know, if you like my pattern and my pacifier helmet, I'd be very grateful if you'd subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, and like my videos. If you'd like to suggest other pacifier helmet models in the comments, I'll try to help as much as I can. Take care, goodbye, okay.